Honestly, this is a video I wish I did not have to make, but unfortunately, this became a part of our story. Our scuba diving adventure, which I have been looking forward to our whole trip, quickly turned into one of the scariest days of our lives. I had a near drowning experience where it felt like I ran out of oxygen and went unconscious underwater for a few minutes. I'm thankful to be alive and express gratitude to everyone that took care of me that day. What you're about to watch is footage from before, during, and after the scuba diving incident. Please keep in mind there's a lot of smiles and laughs as we had no idea what would happen in just a few hours. So let's start off things with a homemade breakfast in our Airbnb.
But today we're gonna go scuba diving. How are you feeling about it?
Very excited. That was like the one thing I wanted to do when we got here. And so the fact that we're going today, I'm just thrilled.
Okay, well, we're off.
Bus broke down, so we figured it'd be easiest to get there in a taxi. Our taxi driver was super nice and he was telling us about like the town and just like the different like Fijian like ways of living.
Showed us where the chief lives.
Overall, a great experience.
Yeah,
kind of liked it.
fun.
Now we're trying to catch our sea vessel to go take us to our scuba diving spot.
Yikes. Just kidding, I'm excited. Here
Same.
we go.
We're gonna be here for a full day, but within this you can do the scuba dive lesson. So we just fill out medical forms and we're gonna head there.
So maybe we call it certified diver. Number 2 type of diving, we put a whole program. This is to those of you never done diving, no experience at all, maybe don't know how to swim. First thing we do, we fill a medical form. Once we see that you're good with the medical form, then we're gonna take you scuba diving. But first, we're gonna take you to the shallow part of the water, where we stand wastewater deep. We put our face in the water, do some breathing, blow some bubble, have some fun. Once we see that you're confident, we'll hold you by the hand and we take you down nice and easy. But we can take you down to the maximum depth of 7 meters. Imagine that, 7 meters, breathing like a fish for 30 to 35 minutes. We'll tell you more because we have our 2 island supermodel are here with us today. Please, can we give a big hand to Ice and Sapphire, everyone? All right, this is how it look like to go scuba diving, guys. At the back of these 2 divers, we have tanks. Tanks are filled up with the normal South Sea Fiji air you're breathing right now. I'm sorry there's no funny mix in it to make it a bit better, eh? Attached to the tank, we have a BCD, or known as a life jacket. And this is the reason we take people don't know how to swim. Imagine that, no swimming, but going scuba diving. So how cool is that, eh? Okay, one cool thing about this jacket, with the press of a button, it fills up with air. Never mind how big you are, you'll be chest high out from the water when it's fully inflated. And like I said, we're gonna play around with the equipment on the shallow. Once we see that you're confident to go down and discover the underwater world, with the press of another button, we take you down nice and easy. And remember, we are not taking straight down to the bottom. We are not floating on top as well. We'll be right in the middle, or we call it a neutral buoyancy. It's gonna be experience going out to the outer space. In front, we have gauges, tells you how deep you are, how much air you have in a tank. But don't you worry because we look after everything for you. For you, just look after all your piece of equipment and it's known as an underwater snorkel. Very easy. You just put on your mouth and you breathe. So this underwater snorkel works in a demand valve. That means whenever you breathe, it gives you the air straight away. It's your first time a bit nervous, so what happened when you're nervous? Rapid breathing happening. That's okay, but remember, you are in Fiji now, so we need Fiji time breathing. In and out, relax. Okay, while you're diving, some of you may be asking, can I cough underwater? Can I sneeze underwater? Bless you, can I laugh underwater? Can I sing underwater? So all those cool things we do on the surface, we do underwater as well as we're diving. And since the first time, they will be there to hold your hand. If you don't know how to swim, they swim for you. All you need to do is just breathe, enjoy the underwater world. Within 5 minutes, we see that you're born scuba diver. We'll give a bit of freedom. But if we see that you're still nervous, we're going to keep holding onto your hand for the whole entire dive. 30 to 35 minutes. But remember, guys, once we're back on the beach, I'm sorry that your relationship and a big hand to these 2 divers, everyone.
They call me Dory.
Ready?
I think so. I'm excited.
Yo, same.
A little nervous.
Are you?
Yeah, a little bit. but also
Maybe.
excited. More excited than nervous.
Yeah.
I'm nervous, but excited. What's that from?
I don't know.
For you, you just look after the breathing. What you do, you just bite on these two legs. Lips come all the way here. Seal the lips while you breathe in and breathe out. When you breathe out, on the side here, bubbles coming out. Feel the bubble rubbing up your face. When you feel that, it's good because you are breathing out. That's what we need. So this is your best friend. The one that supply you the air you need. Okay? So the other one is there for backup. Something wrong with this one, use the other one. Something wrong with both of mine, they'll come and share the other one. So all of us, we have to use.
During the remaining instructions, the guide taught us hand signals for various situations, including okay, going up, going down, and indicating if something is wrong or what to expect. He also showed us 2 cool tricks to clear waters from our goggles and mouthpiece. Since this was a discovery dive, our maximum depth was limited to 21 feet. Following the instructions, we began gearing up and made our way towards the shallow end to practice before our dive.
All good?
Yeah.
Any questions? Remember the number 1 rule of scuba diving is breathing. We never ever hold on to a breath.
Wow. Brr. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
How cold are you?
Nah.
Goosebumps say otherwise.
There you go. Haze on. Try on. In plate. Ropes out, yeah, perfect.
There you go. Just lean forward and stand up.
I didn't know what I was expecting, but this is a lot heavier than I ever thought.
I thought it was going to be even heavier. Imagine with 2 tanks on.
Why
We
do
only
you
have
need-
1 little tank.
I do need 2.
Like for more air so you can go longer.
Oh.
We just have 1 baby tank. Usually there's 2 tanks.
I feel so heavy. Becky, POV, you scuba dive for the first time without being certified. What was that? I love it. Are you pumped?
I am pumped. It's so wavy.
I know, it's a little choppy out there.
And it's going to be not wavy when we get in there.
I know, how exciting.
Once the mask not on your face, don't take it off. And make sure you brush your hair back. No hair in the mask. Alright, what we do now, we put our face in the water, like this. Learn 2 skills, huh? Skills we're gonna learn is how to clear the water from your mask if there's water in it, huh? Now we'll talk about problems. I've got problem with my mask. Maybe a bit of water in it. If the water rises up to that level, then you need to clear that water out. But how we do that? 2 fingers. Push it to your head. You look up and you breathe out through your nose. So you only push that if there's water. If no water, don't need to push.
That's how you clear it out for water?
All good? All good?
So if there's water in the mask, hit that button.
There, when the water in the mask, do that straight away. When the water on your mouthpiece, you just push like that. Blow it out or push. Good? So recap on hand signal. Okay, up, down, problem, point to the problem. Slow down, stop, look at that, and this is a sign of touching. Alright, so you don't know unless we tell you to, eh? Yeah. Alright, so nice and easy, we stay together. First 5 minutes, we're holding hands. Once we see that you're good, we might let your hand go. When we let your hand go, please don't swim away from us. We stay together.
Here we go!
Alright, so we can show you good stuff, right?
Yeah!
All good?
All good.
Alright.
After practicing and becoming more comfortable in the water, it was time for the dive. The dive itself was amazing and the guides made me feel at ease. It was the deepest I'd ever been in the ocean, and the sensation of free floating while observing the wildlife was incredible. Fish swam right in front of my goggles, and I saw numerous subspecies for the first time. At one point, we approached some coral, and when I touched it, the colors changed like a real-life gradient. At this point, we were scuba diving for 30 minutes when it was time to ascend back to shore. This is where our trip took an unexpected turn. About halfway to shore, I sensed that something had changed. It might have been a gut reaction, but I could tell that something was off. If you recall earlier in the video, the guide had explained that you could see bubbles when you exhaled underwater. This is when I knew something was off. While swimming, I felt like I was breathing through a tiny cozy hole to the point where it seemed like I wasn't getting any air at all. If you listen closely for a few seconds, you can hear the change in my breathing pattern. At one moment I sounded like Darth Vader, and then it suddenly went completely silent. At this point, I didn't panic because I knew I could hold my breath underwater for at least a minute. I looked around for the guide and swam up to him to avoid anything happening to Becky. I signaled to the guide that something was wrong and pointed to my mouthpiece and tank. There might have been some miscommunication because the guide responded with the hang 10 hand signal and swam away. Oddly enough, I was still fairly calm and I thought, okay, I'll just swim to the surface and remove my mouthpiece so I can breathe. Let me remind you that we were still weighted down and in submersion mode, so it wasn't that easy. From my perspective, I swam towards the surface, but this is the exact moment I lost consciousness. This is where we shift to Becky's perspective and get her point of view.
Meanwhile, I was already up out of the water with my mask and goggles off, and I was waiting for Brandon to come out of the water and figured he was just swimming around more with the other guide. Then I turned around and saw the guide carrying Brandon's limp body out of the water, and I immediately freaked out.
God, Brandon! Brandon! Oh my God!
Brandon's eyes and mouth were so blue, I couldn't believe what I was seeing and kept screaming his name, waiting for him to respond, but he never did. I was thrashing around with the scuba gear still attached to me while they carried Brandon to shore, and this felt like the longest minutes of my whole life trying to get to him to make sure he was okay. Thankfully, when I got to him, he was conscious, but things still weren't looking great, and I was still very shook at the sight I had just seen.
I eventually regained consciousness while being carried to the shore. I remember wondering why I was on a boat and why was everyone asking me if I was okay. The worst moment came when they placed me on the sand and I started rolling around in it. I was very uncomfortable and also coughed up blood a few times. During my recovery, my vision disappeared for about 30 minutes. I could only see outlines of people against a gray background. Fortunately, there was a convenient doctor nearby from New Zealand who knew how to position me until the emergency boat arrived. About 20 minutes later, I was placed on a stretcher and taken to the boat. At this point, I just wanted to nap so badly, but falling asleep in this situation was not advisable. Becky made sure to keep me awake by shouting my name whenever my eyes closed. Upon reaching Audi, I was put into a wheelchair and awaited arrival for the ambulance. I had a terrible headache and the biggest cramps in both of my calves. We arrived at the hospital where they conducted blood tests, x-rays, and administered an IV. Finally, I was able to get some rest, although the doctors warned us about a possibility of a second drowning, which can occur 24 to 48 hours after a drowning incident. I was discharged around 5 p.m., but I still felt quite weak and was still disoriented.
We're gonna be okay, everyone. I have an infection, apparently, but I still have a headache. Both of my calves had cramps in them, but we're gonna go eat and I think go home. But scuba diving is a lot of fun.
Josh. not okay.
It's like inappropriate.
And that wraps up the scariest day of our lives. Don't really have much else to say, except maybe see you tomorrow. And then
Literally the scariest day of my life.
I'm like still recovering, and we're gonna go eat because I have not eaten all day.
Me neither.
Yeah. We're supposed to have lunch at 12. The incident started at 11:37, give or take. But
We're gonna go get some food. Hopefully some good Indian food. It's recommended, so.
I love you.
I love you too. I'm so glad you're okay. See, I'm already crying up again. It was emotional.
It was. I see you in the next one. Bye.